Coaster town. Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I would appreciate it majorly. All right. So, the two missing kids, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, once again, here to talk about that. But, I focus mostly on, some of the other characters involved in this, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell and Charles Vallow and Tammy Daybell and Alex Cox. I think you've heard me say about 1,000 million times that I have this idea that these people fake their deaths, okay? And I still have that idea. In fact, every story that comes out, I actually believe it a little bit more than I did before. Honest to goodness. That is the truth. And that's the same with this newest piece of information. I've also said that of all the various family members and various persons, friends, associates that I've heard give their version of events, on this, and there are many of them. I haven't heard one single person telling the truth, and that also has not changed at all. So, this story, and this is coming from Fox 10 Phoenix. I think, Justin Lum got this email and a letter from Charles to his insurance company, and Kay Vallow is copied on it. That's her business email address, and she's in the report. So I assume he's getting these things from her. That would be my assumption. Not from the authorities. He's not getting it leaked from the file. He's getting it from her. I assume. She's on the thing. So, and the story is that, that Charles basically not just changed his beneficiary, in February 2019, 5 months before he was killed, but that supposedly Lori was attempting to lock him out of the account and put a password on the account, so that he could, when he called to do something to the account, he couldn't do it. And so he had to take these measures. He was instructed by the company, whatever it is, Banner Life Insurance Company in Maryland. I haven't even bothered looking into them yet, and I probably won't, even though who knows. They required him to, send basically a certified letter, a notarized letter, signed by himself, stating that he wasn't the one who put a password on his account, and to take the password off so that he can get into his account. And then he states that he would like to do the same thing himself, and put a password on the account once he gets the password that she put on the account taken off. And I guess, there's a beneficiary form in here too to change his beneficiary. All right. Which, I don't know, and I'm not, other than just mentioning it in one sentence or two, I don't know why it was so easy for her to do this, even though she wasn't even the actual person, and she supposedly fraudulently posed as Charles, or had somebody else, I guess, a man, posed as Charles to get the password on the account. Because it's not just, it wasn't just over the computer. It was over the phone, and because he asked for an investigation, and he asked for the recorded call and all that. So why it was so easy for her, but he was not able to verify himself over the phone, for his own account to do the same thing she did. I don't know, and I don't really care. That's not that big of a deal. But and I'll go through just a number of very basic, very logical, simple. This is not like Columbo type stuff, dude. All right, simple questions that come up when you get these things, when you get this type of information, But the number one thing is that this screams from the absolute rooftops of motive to kill him. Okay, and so, why anybody who was planning to kill somebody would basically lay out this thing here that basically, points to humongous motive, it's ridiculous. Okay. And why somebody would do that is the answer to that is they wouldn't do it. And the only reason they would do that is if it was for some other reason and not the one that you're being led to believe. Okay? I don't want to get all worked up, I mean, it's so silly. So, I mean, because I guess, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily say in this report why Charles, I mean, and there's some other just very basic, and I'm going to go through there's some just very basic questions, very basic, I mean, we're hearing about this now. This is now what? April 2020. He was killed in July 2019. And you're seeing these things for the first time. I assume the police were shown this at some point. I mean, you would think that, if your loved one, your relative, your family member was killed, okay? And you had this information basically totally in the forefront of your mind 5 months before he was killed, you would think that those family members would have been going to the press then, and screaming to, like, why isn't this being investigated? Why isn't the death of my family member being investigated, when there's all this humongous motive right here? Okay, because it's not a motive, okay? Because in my opinion, he's actually not dead, and that's my, and I don't believe Tammy Daybell is either, and I don't believe Alex Cox is either. I have no idea where they are. I promise I'll get to the various points, but, I'm telling you, in my opinion, the various persons involved here, and I do think they're getting help, and I do think it's way bigger than just life insurance, have a very, very sophisticated knowledge of the law. They really do. And when you boil it right down, it's very possible that the person that's sitting in a jail cell right now doesn't have a ton of legal liability other than the missing children, which could be basically once they're brought from not being missing, I'm just saying, if there was no murder, and basically just there was, and maybe the most serious aspects of the fraud was done by people that you'll never see again, that are somewhere in God knows where in the world, but weren't done by her and all by Lori. And all Lori basically did was lie to the police. She's looking at like misdemeanor stuff, and I think these people know exactly what laws they've broken and what ones they haven't, and that's why they're so brave, that's why they're so unafraid. Okay, and it's not because of God or any of that stuff, man. That's all bull. So, but like so Charles is he finds out about this presumably because I don't know how I found out about it because he just went to go log into his account. I guess there'd be a reason for that, and I assume that would be to change. His story would be to change his beneficiary to his sister, okay, to Kay, all right, which he wasn't able to do because he was basically locked out of the account because Lori supposedly had, called and had a password put on the account. But if she was if Charles was going to change his beneficiary to Kay, it's so absurd, okay, like she's going to secretly change his beneficiary, and that's never. There's a recorded call in this. I mean, it's she's basically giving all the evidence to the prosecutor, that they would ever need if there was an actual murder, for motive, for financial gain, for life insurance, by placing a call, by changing the PIN number, which leaves recorded call and computer data that, you either logged in with the new password and so forth. I mean, but why would she if Charles was, logging on or wanted to go to his account, presumably to change his beneficiary to his sister, that means his beneficiary was, his wife. So she wouldn't even need to. It was already her. She didn't need to change anything, And that's not a huge thing, but I'm just saying. And so what? So after all that, I don't feel like reading through these things, I'm just going by, you can read them yourselves. The letter, the email from the company, and the letter from him to the company, basically, saying, that she's not my beneficiary and my sister is, by email, in case anything happens to him in the meantime, I'll read that, So she never. So I guess what people out there in the comments who make these ridiculous comments are going to say that Lori just didn't know. She didn't know that Charles changed the beneficiary to K. So that's why she went ahead and killed him. Okay, for the insurance money, and then she was like, after she killed him, she was majorly disappointed because she realized that he changed the beneficiary and he outfoxed her. And so she never, from this point on, even though she went through all the trouble to put a password on the account, she never logged in once herself to check in between this time, February, the time that she did it. We don't know exactly precisely. This is right after the July 31st, incident of her going to file the police report at the same time, right around. This is getting everything on the record, dude. Setting the stage for what would come 5 months ago. But she never checked. She never checked the account again from that point to the time that they were killed. Or better yet, he didn't tell her. He didn't, so he's basically, he says to people, supposedly the reports are that he said, if anything happens to me, Lori did it. Or he's changing his life insurance because he's worried his wife is after his life insurance money. And that, I guess the logical assumption is that she would kill him for the life insurance money. But after he changes the beneficiary, he doesn't bother to tell her. He lets her think that she is the beneficiary, which increases the likelihood of her trying to kill him, which is, basically raises the odds of him being killed. He doesn't bother saying, I changed my life insurance policy. Don't bother trying to kill me. You won't be able to collect on it. He keeps that a secret to himself. So, that's pretty much it, dude, But, I just want to say, what I'm saying, I've enclosed the notarized change of beneficiary form and change of address. I did not place a pin on my account, but once this is settled, I would like to do so. I would like only Ethel K. Woodcock, Nicholas Vallow, or Zachary Vallow to have access to this policy. Please confirm receipt of this email as I will FedEx the original today. I suspect it was my soon-to-be ex-wife Lori. If I can get a copy or transcript of the recording of the call, it would help in my legal matter with her. I'm sure there probably is a transcript. These things. I'm telling you, these people are not stupid. But in my opinion, these three people are not dead. There's just no way. There's no way, okay? So, it would be the most dumbest, and then to replicate it, basically, this is so similar to the guy in the mask, in the ski mask, showing up at Tammy Daybell's, driveway with a gun, supposedly a paint pellet gun is what she thought it was, and that's what she said in her Facebook post 10 days before she died in her sleep. So, this is just like, making the death, the shooting death, look so suspicious with something that's intentionally recorded previously. Okay, but just like in this case where Charles Vallow is shot and killed in his home, we don't hear anything about this, okay, until November 26th, and then beyond that even, November 26th, when, it doesn't even get into the press. That's when Kay Vallow requests the welfare check of JJ Vallow. There's no outcry. I guess it's just one story, but there's no murder investigation, okay? And just like that, you have the guy showing up, in the driveway of Tammy Daybell, and Chad Daybell's there too. Chad's inside the house. She's getting groceries out of the car. Supposedly, she claims it wasn't loaded, or he tried to fire it and it was empty, so it just clicked or whatever, and then he ran off. Some guy in a ski mask who I think people would assume that's Alex Cox. So, drawing all the suspicion 10 days before she dies in her sleep. But just like now, just like this time, when you didn't hear anything about it, in that case, same thing. When she died, the family doesn't request an autopsy. The coroner calls it death by natural causes. And that was practically the end of it until all these things, other things started pushing it to a head. I think you get my point. If you don't, you don't. You do. I know you do. And that's the story there, man. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below, and I will see you in the next video. Later, man.